So we are on the Divine Discourse number 64, today being the 18th of June 2020, Sharvarinam Samvatsar, Uttarayan, Grishma Rutu, Jyeshta Mas, Krishna Paksha, Dwadashi, and a Thursday. Now, yesterday we studied in much detail about verse number 36 of the Karma Yoga, where Arjuna was asking, "O Lord, how is that a person is compelled to commit sinful acts even though he does not want to do, but somewhere a force from within comes in and makes you succumb to an act which is much against your wishes?" So there we understood now that how Papa and Punya, it tries to ignite your self and your senses to get into action of wrongful and sinful acts. So now moving forward in verse number 37, now Lord gives an answer to that. So verse 37, let's please repeat after me. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kama Yesha Krodha Yesha Rajo Guna Samudbhava Mahashano Mahapapma Vidyenam Iha Vairinam. So here Lord Krishna says in only one word which is the root cause for all the problems. In fact, not only in a limited area but for your entire life. He says here, Arjuna, it is that lust and desire, and which later gets transformed into anger. I am telling you, please bear it in mind that this is the most and the enemy of the highest order in your life. There can't be a greater destroyer for you in life than your own desires. Kama yesha, krodha yesha. So first it comes as a desire, and then when it is not fulfilled, it becomes anger. And when a person is angry, he is not a human at all. That's why they say any decision taken in anger not to be trustworthy. And anything you say in anger, if the opposite person is clever enough, should understand that he was angry and just ignore it for a better relationship. Ignore, don't get personal there. He is angry. An angry person is equal to a drunkard. If a drunkard, you're going somewhere and a drunkard is there, he shouts at you for no rhyme or reason. He just shouts at you and says all wrong things about you. Do you get angry? What do you say? Theek hai, he's a drunkard, let's move on. So you just brushed him aside. Why? because you have an understanding that he is not in his senses. He is drunk. There is no difference between an angry person and a drunkard. Now let's go more into details of how this, because earlier also Sri Krishna has spoken about this, how this is affecting a human life so badly. And now that we have started our sadhana, our endeavor is eventually to make our life peaceful, calm, noble, and worth living for ourselves and for people around us. So if you want to bring in all those transformation, like as I was telling you, a farmer prepares the soil so well to such an extent that he doesn't have to plant a seed into the ground so that it sprouts. No, he just throws the seed into the ground. That too very casually singing a song, he throws the seeds. He is so sure of that the ground is well prepared. So if we have to be well prepared to receive all this knowledge, we have to get up on our sadhana, and we're already quite ahead on that. Okay, so now let's study how this desire creates havoc. Now in verse, let's revisit slowly. In verse 62 of the previous chapter, Sankhya Yoga, where it's much more in detail. Dhyayato vishayan pumsa sangaste shupajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho vijayate. Then the next verse also goes as krodhat bhavati sammoha. That way it further takes you forward. Now I'll explain now how this is happening in terms of how senses can really disturb us. So what happens? Now we all know, where does the desires originate? The causal body, Karan Sharir. From there, and now causal body is not of one lifetime, it is of the current lives as well as your entire previous lives. It's nicely stored in your causal body. Now from there the desire erupts into the mind. That is the buddhi. Now this buddhi, what it does, it immediately tells the mind that I want to have this. Now I don't know how you're going to get it for me, because he is the master. The buddhi controls the mind. Now then the mind is in charge of the sense organs and the organs of action. They run around and they put their mind on the sense objects. They locate where it is available, how I can get it, and then backward transformation and information. So when you start thinking about an object of the senses, you slowly start getting attached. You're again and again seeing it. Your desire again and again increases, and eventually you come to a stage where you will feel that without that my life is incomplete. It can be anything. It can be a piece of jewelry, it can be a home, or it can be even a dog. All these, you develop a desire and you start thinking about it. Now when you get that, at that point of time you have a sense of peace and happiness, because that which was constantly troubling your mind now is at rest. No more hankering is happening. If you observe carefully, the moment you buy something which has been disturbing you for so long, you get a great sense of accomplishment, because there is no hankering of the mind. Otherwise constantly there was The mind was hankering. So now you got it. Now, the moment there is any disturbance to that particular object what you have got, so there the anger is directly proportionate to the extent of the hindrance caused in owning the object or nourishing the object. Let's say you want to get something, somebody comes in between. They ask you questions. Why you want this? Can't you postpone this? Is this really required? They'll put 100 questions. If your desire for that object is very high, your reaction is also high. See, the best examples here are when a boy and girl are in love and there is no approval from the parent side. See, the parents are interested more in the welfare of the child on a long-term basis. They don't go by infatuation. But whereas the youngsters, yes, they might have had infatuation and they are not as wise as their parents, obviously. So when the parents come in between, they behave so abruptly. By that you can make out what is the intensity of their desire. And now having got, what happens next step? You have to preserve. Yoga, kshema. Yoga means you are getting it. Kshema is you are preserving it. So while you are preserving, if somebody causes some kind of a damage to your really loved one or thing, is the voice cracking for everybody? Or is it only for Varsha? Okay. So when... Okay. Varsha, I think you need to check on your Wi-Fi. Everybody else it's clear. Yeah, that's better. You exit and again join. When you have got an object and you are so happy that you have got finally what you wanted, and you are so careful about it, you're preserving it to an extent which extra care, what we call. Now there somebody causes harm to it, you cannot tolerate that also. So at every point till you get it, there is anger, and as you get it and you're maintaining it, then also there is anger. One person, he wanted to buy a Ferrari. Now, like right from his college days, he had a wish that he should own a Ferrari. So after he graduated, then he got a job. Then as he got into the job, his mind was always on that I should buy a Ferrari. Then he cannot buy a Ferrari immediately with the first salary, isn't it? So then he worked for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. And as his salary was increasing, then at one stage he felt, now I should buy. And one day, finally, he signs the check and does the documentation, takes delivery of the car. He's so happy. He's on cloud 9. He comes with the car home. And there, his son was about 6-7 years old. His wife, his son, they all come running out of the house and they see the father in that brand new red Ferrari. Now his dream has come true. The wife knows that it has been his wish from the time they know each other. A deep wish. Now what happened? They had to pick up something So the wife tells the husband, why don't you just go and fetch this for me? She was making probably something at home. So he says, Sonny, why don't you come with me? So then father and son both, they go on the first ride. On the way, there is a flat tire. Somewhere a nail pokes in and there is a flat tire. Now, anyway, you can't avoid this. So the father gets on to take the jack and raise the car and change the wheel. He's into all that. Now, while he's doing this job, the son was sitting inside. So he brings down the window and he's looking out and he's into his own childful games. So the father is changing the tire and he's at work and he sees that this boy, he has taken some metal piece and he's writing on the door. That new car, shining, he's scraping over there and making a mark. This guy has a spanner in his hands. The child is scraping. What he does is, he gets so angry looking at it, he takes the spanner and hits him on his knuckle so hard. Now, after he has hit, he realizes, my God, what did I do? And he takes the child to the hospital and surgery. All that is happening. Now the doctor is saying, what is this? You have hit the child so hard. We don't know what's the condition inside. It's horrible. And they put a plaster and the child is put to rest. Now he's coming back home to take his wife. He goes and sees on the car. He's already miserable. He sees what the child has written. He says, I love you, Dad. See, the child doesn't know what a Ferrari is, what it costs, what this new paint body is. He just got a metal piece and he thought while scratching, he could make an impression. So as you know, children of that age, they write on the walls, they write everywhere, on every surface. That's their habit at that age. He says, I love you, Dad. Now, this person, because it was his long felt dream, what happened? That rage in him came so strongly that he was not able to think of anything else. His reaction was so strong. So, having desire, attachment too much is definitely not the right thing in mind. You should, yes, love, respect, have your feelings, but they all should be under control. And that you need to keep checking. Otherwise, what will happen? These kind of volcanoes will erupt. And then, now imagine what happens if this desire is met. Fine. What happens? It asks for something else, no? Once desire is met, then it becomes greed. He says, next I want this. Likewise, it goes on. There is no end to it. One after the other, the desire increases. At some point, all your desires can't be materialized. So at some point, you are definitely not able to materialize something. And then what happens? That becomes anger. And as far as you are materializing, it increases your pride. Both ways it is harmful. And let's say, at some point, you do not get what you desire. Krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibhramaha, smritir bhramshat buddhinashaha, buddhinashat pranashati. So from this anger arises an infatuation. And from infatuation, there is complete loss of your understanding. And from that loss of understanding, loss of reasoning, one goes to complete ruin. See, you have so many areas to work on. You have your profession, you have your relationship, you have your own mind and body. Otherwise, if you keep doing all nonsense with your body and mind, that will not cooperate with you in terms of health. Then you have the society. So for all that, a stable mind is extremely important. And Sri Krishna again, he tells in verse number 67, there he says, of the same chapter 2, he says, just as a strong wind can sweep a boat out of its chartered course or its routine course, in the same way your senses can lead your intellect completely out of focus. In Kathopanishad, the Lord over there says, Paranchikani Vyatrind Swayambhu, meaning God has made your five senses so strong and so facing outward that be careful. They are always there to catch hold of the objects of the senses. Senses after the objects of senses. So there he makes a metaphor. He says, the mind is like a boat. Your desires are like the waves. Your senses are like the sail. Now what happens? As you get these strong desires, they are like huge waves which take you up and down. And what do you have to do then? What recourse do you have at this point? There the Lord says, use your sadhana as an anchor. Protect yourself. Put it down as an anchor. And protect the boat from going astray. So the effects of desire can be innumerable. Everywhere it has been spoken about that. And then what happens? Okay, if it is fulfilled, you get greed. And then further, you get pride. After the greed, even there, if you say it is fulfilled, you get pride. If it is not, you get anger. And somebody else gets, you get jealousy. One has to be very careful. See, the main enemies of human soul or a jivatma are the shadripus: kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. And see the journey of all these, where did it start? It started with the desire. Now today I'll give you all one very important formula, how we can convert negative emotions into positive emotions. You are bound to get adverse reactions from people around you. Never ever think that everybody is going to be nice, kind, sweet, and pally with me. No. Everybody has got their own minds and they will be playing their own games. So you don't know how each and every person will serve the ball. You have to be ready to pick it up properly. So, say there is something, anything, it could be a person, an object, a situation. When you don't accept it, it is a negative emotion. You make your own formulas within that. Okay, there is a person whom you're not able to accept for whatever wrongdoings or negative things they have. You are not able to accept. So what happens? There is a negative emotion against that person or an object or a situation. Now, against the same thing, that's something plus acceptance. You accept it, whatever it may be. See, this is the habit you have to cultivate. When that something plus acceptance, it becomes a positive emotion. I'll give an example. Now, when somebody did something wrong to you, you are not able to accept what he or she has done to you. What happens? It turns into anger. Complete negative emotion. Anger, you're so angry, the very thought of that person will, it'll really give you negative vibes in your body. Wherever you're sitting, your body will shake. That kind of an anger you'll get. But if that same non-acceptance, if you have cultivated hard and you accept whatever that person has done, now that knowing in the larger realm of the karma theory, all that what you have studied, you know how the whole universe functions now. In that framework, now if you accept whatever that person or situation has done, it becomes forgiveness, a positive emotion. If somebody has got something and which you didn't get, as we said, no, now you failed and that person got it. Negative emotion is you're not able to accept it. So negative emotion out of that will be jealousy. Rather, you accept it and make it motivation for yourself. See, this needs a brave heart. And now with this sadhana, what we are doing, these are all not bookish talk. You can do it, I'm telling you. Because it's no joke now, the way all of you have taken up sadhana, it's no joke. You people can do it, I'm telling you. You have to just be vigilant. How the mind is functioning, what is going inside yourself, all along you should just be vigilant of that. And the moment you start being vigilant, then you will see that the change will happen. If there is greed, you are getting now excess desire for something, again and again you want more and more. There, change the emotion. Then it becomes compassion. So likewise, each and every aspect, the moment we don't accept, it will ruin you completely with a negative emotion. But the moment you accept, it will give you a positive emotion and it will make you grow up in life. These are great secrets to adapt in life. It will change your life. Let anything happen. I only have a positive outlook. That should be your framework. Because I know the law of karma. Why should I ruin my life? I can't change the person who is behaving that way with me. The most easiest thing which I can do is I can change myself, isn't it? I can't change the whole world. Let me make myself strong. And how I can become strong? Use the techniques of sadhana. Now, if you want to make your arm strong, you have to lift some weights. You will have to do some push-ups. Some good physical activity for your arms. Then only they'll be strong. Same happens to your entire body. Now, if you want to make your mind strong, you have to get into sadhana, and then the whole world's perspective is changed for you as far as you pay attention. Otherwise, you will be working in an instinct manner, and we are born with all the instincts. We know that the vasanas in us keep throwing the instincts out from time to time. So we have to work at the root of the vasanas and also at the surface of the vasanas, how they are playing a dirty game in our lives, and change the course. Because now you have the purushartha. Destiny has given you what had to come to you, and what you make out of that which comes to you is your purushartha. Today, whatever you are a result of all what you have done in the previous week, month, year, years, right? Anything. It was a matter of choices from time to time. You have taken different choices. Good or bad is a result as on date. Now, tomorrow will be the result of what you plan to do today. So now we are working towards that. How to make our tomorrow better and better. Let anybody try to throw any kind of a muck against you, but they should get angry and say, my God, what is this? Whatever I'm trying to do for this person, he's so peaceful, she's so peaceful. I can't shake a bit. That is the power within you, and that's what we need to develop.